Remember it. The names of people you meet, all of your passwords, where you left your keys, and everything else you tend to forget. By Nelson Dellis, Summary and Review. Genre, Mnemonics and Memory. Pages 239. Format, paperback. Publishing year of book being reviewed, 2018. About the author. Taken from Wikipedia as of 2025. Nelson Charles Dellis, born February 4th, 1984, is an American memory athlete and consultant. He is a 6-time US memory champion, holding the record for most wins of the National Memory Champion title. He is also one of the co-founders of Memory League, formerly Extreme Memory Tournament. Nelson also runs Climb for Memory, a non-profit which aims to raise funds and awareness for Alzheimer's disease research through mountain climbs around the world. About the book. Blurb. In this whimsical, vibrantly illustrated tour of memory theory, memory champion Nelson Dellis offers an unforgettable manual to sharpening the mind and unlocking your memory. He explores how our brains work by teaching strategies for remembering the everyday, practical things that can be all too easy to forget, such as where you left your keys and parked your car, the phone number of someone you met at the bar, the 11th President of the United States and all the others, what you need to buy at the grocery store, what your partner asked you to do this morning, the names of the people you just met, new vocabulary, in foreign languages or otherwise, every password you've ever created, and much more. Basic content and structure. The book begins with a foreword from neurosurgeon Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who first met Dellis while at his own show on the subject of memory. The book is then broken up into chapters as follows. Chapter 1, My Story and Why You Should Listen to Me. Chapter 2, Basic Things You Must Remember Before You Start. Chapter 3, Brain Farts, Name Amnesia, and the Everyday Things That Drive Our Memories Mad. Chapter 4, For All the List-Based Things That Your Mind Wished It Could Remember Forward and Backwards. Chapter 5, Making Sense of the Gobbledygook Numbers Things and How to Make Them Stick. Chapter 6, Tips for Memorizing Some of the Other Things Your Bumfuzzle Brain Has to Deal With. Chapter 7, The Last Few Things to Make Your Memory an Absolute Memorizing Monster. Appendix, Sources, Acknowledgements. Review, Technical. An excellent book designed for everyday people to address everyday occurrences. The book begins with why you should even care about memory and mnemonics, then introduces easy techniques to improve your memory before gradually introducing more complex techniques as you become more proficient. The layout and design of the book are very appealing and engaging. There are famous quotes that are a great touch. My favourite is from Sherlock Holmes. I consider that a man's brain originally is like a little empty attic, and you have to stock it with such furniture as you choose. The skillful workman is very careful indeed as to what he takes into his brain attic. There are lots of cartoon drawings to show you what Dellis is trying to communicate with regard to the imagination and visualization of the mnemonics, and the design of the book is done in such a way that there are no endless blocks of text. It is always broken up by pictures or other types of design. Review, personal. I got a really strange feeling when reading this book. I think it's because learning mnemonics and memory techniques feels esoteric. It feels like something that should only be conducted in dark, candlelit rooms in ancient castles after being initiated into an ancient fraternal order. And to be honest, that might not be far off. Known by many names, such as the method of Loki, the architectural mnemonic, the Roman room technique, the memory palace, and the journey method, this most famous of memory techniques was first described around 93 BCE in the Roman rhetorical textbook Rhetorica ad Herennium. The famous story goes that in the 5th century BCE, the Greek poet Simonides was the lone survivor of a tragic roof collapse at a banquet and was asked whose bodies might have been buried under the rubble. The names weren't coming to him, but when he closed his eyes and thought back on the banquet table, he had an epiphany. He could remember every guest as he went seat by seat around the table. It wasn't their faces he recalled, it was their places. The origins might be old, but the techniques are more than applicable today. I have used these techniques myself when learning a new language, and I have remembered lists of random objects for fun, just to see if I could recall them hours later. The key to Simonides remembering the names of the people at the banquet was in spacing. Each person was seated in their own unique place, like a folder on a computer. Imagine each person is in their own drawer in a filing cabinet. It's only theirs, and it is only their name on the front, just like the guests at the banquet that were sitting in their own unique place at the table. It's easy to understand once you get into the book, I promise. Memory is something we take for granted, or more often complain about the lack of it, now that we have outsourced a lot of our mental processes to external devices. But I can absolutely imagine our ancestors memorizing the shape, smell and texture of poisonous plants. Or if they saw two hills that were shaped in a certain way, they knew they were going in the right direction, or maybe even in the wrong direction. For those people, relying on memory could have meant life or death. You might have even been using a mnemonic technique when you were younger. I remember learning this rhyme to remember the colours of the rainbow. Richard of York gave battle in vain. Each beginning letter representing the colour of the rainbow. A mnemonic is anything that is used to aid memory, to remember better, just like a rhyme or song. It's strange how we remember the lyrics to our favourite songs, right? We often remember the places where we first heard it, or who we were with, the smells, the noise. This all ties into mnemonic memory. Finishing thoughts. The number one point that Dellis is trying to hammer home when training memory is that you need to develop your ability to visualize and imagine what you are trying to remember and employ all your senses to solidify that imagery. He continuously emphasizes that memorable images stick better in your mind than normal images. Memorable can be violent, obscene, crazy, bizarre, sexual, anything that is out of the ordinary. How often have you driven home and you don't remember a thing about it? That's because nothing memorable happened. Now imagine you witness a car crash. You're going to tell everyone about it, the noise, what it looked like, and maybe what other people's reactions were. It sticks in your brain, and that, according to Dellis, is how you take your memory to the next level. A superb book designed to be entertaining, educational, and a mnemonic reference book. Will feel like you have a superpower after applying the techniques. If you would like to read this book summary and review, please follow the link that will be in the description. That is to my blog. Like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. And I will see you next time.